What's up, everybody? This is Alan Deal Jr., aka Addict to Athlete. We are doing our last live test run before Sunday, which is going to be with special guest IFBB Pro Ed Brown Jr. Guys, I do have the comments up this time, so if you're listening and everything looks good and you can see it, please hit a comment in there. I guess I'm just going to talk a little bit about how my weekend went, since we're just trying to test all the sound and the video and everything like that. So anyway, yeah, I had an amazing weekend. I got to go back to Round Rock, Texas, and got to be with my family. Yeah, it was amazing, man, what God's been doing in my life. I couldn't, I got to be there for my daughter's birthday. She turned 11. I'm sure everybody saw that on Facebook. And just last year at this time, I was sitting in a prison cell. Actually, there was a riot, and they had put us on lockdown, and I was waiting to get transferred to an ID unit. And I was so worried about like how long it was going to take me, how long I was going to be in prison to begin with. I didn't know at that point. They gave me a 7-year sentence. I could have been in there as long as 5 years. God blessed me and allowed me to get out. But I was thinking in there, this is a crazy experience, and I'm actually going to be missing my son's graduation. He graduated from high school, and that was something I knew I was going to miss. I was missing my daughter's birthday at Kalahari. I also knew that I was going to miss that. And I didn't know how many I was going to miss, but God blessed me and was able to allow me to be there with my daughter this weekend. My son came from San Marcos. He's killing it there at Texas State. He's one of the media guys for the athletic department, so he gets to do the football games, the baseball games, and stuff like that. And I'm very proud of him. It was really good to see him, see both of them, and his girlfriend was there. That was great. I got to see Caitlin again, and haven't been able to see them in a while. But it was a great time. We had a good time, and it just made me, I had moments where I was just like, I would start crying just because I'm so happy and blessed to be alive. I'm happy that God has allowed this opportunity for me to be with my family and to spread God's love, and it's just it's an amazing experience, and I can't wait to help people, to bring this to people and see what we can do, and it's just been an amazing time. But yeah, it was crazy because I was sitting there at the table, and I saw this picture of me and my son and my daughter, and I was like, man, just last year I was sitting in a cell, and I was so depressed, and I wanted to kill myself. I really did, and I knew I wasn't going to do that, but like that's how low I was and how I felt, and it was just insane of a feeling, and I had nowhere to turn to but God, and it was pretty crazy. I read about 8 books of the Bible while I was in that cell, and I feel like I reconnected with my higher power there, and he saved me, man. He picks me up from the depths of hell, and I was able to come out of this thing and have a high, keep my head up high while I was in there, keep my head focused on him, my heart focused on him, and it really helped me get through that time. But as far as what's going to happen on Sunday, I'm bringing Ed on. It's going to be amazing. I got to see him this weekend too, so he's pretty excited. And we're going to have the open chat up where you can say what's going on. You can ask us questions, and if you got any questions for Ed, he'll be able to answer them for us, and it'll be really cool experience for all of us. Ed is a amazing dude, and he's been doing this for a long time, and it's going to be awesome to have his expertise on the show on if people are struggling out there, trying to get in the gym, don't know how to get back at it with their diet. Ed's got it, man. He's got it 100%. It's going to be an amazing time, and I'm excited to have him on. I also got to see an old friend this weekend, Christina Mill. That girl is a CM Fitness on Instagram. She and I were both in the men's I was in the Mr. Health and Fitness contest in 2022, and she was in the Mrs. Health and Fitness contest. And it was kind of funny because neither of us knew we both were in the competition at first until we got in the top 10. Once we got in the top 10, we realized that, hey, two people from Round Rock, actually Round Rock High School, were in this competition. And it was, it was a pretty cool experience for both of us. We ended up in the top three. Both of us did. I believe I was runner up and she got third place on the women's side. And so we're gonna have her on the show too. She has her own fitness studio in Round Rock right now. She's doing really well, and it was great to see her this weekend for the brief time that I did get to see her. But Christina was amazing, and she had a lot of cool things to say, and we may even do some business together in the future. So uh, that was awesome as well. Um, yeah, Bert, if you're out there listening, man, we're gonna get you on the show too. Bert Brazino, he's one of my buddies. I got to see him on. I get to see him at the end of this month. He's actually getting baptized, and I'm gonna go up there and see him. So that's gonna be cool. Also, but yeah, I wanted to come on and just see how it looked. It looks a lot better on my end this time. Also youtube.com. If you could go to my, I got the banner down there. If you could go there and subscribe, that would be great. I'm trying to get it about another 150 subscribers so we can get some perks on the streaming the podcast on YouTube. And I'm pretty sure that we're going to have it on YouTube next Sunday or this coming Sunday with Ed. So and I'll probably post it to all my other links as well. But yeah, we're super excited that we're going to be able to do this. And um, yeah, just God's been amazing, and I'm hoping that I can bring my strength, experience, and hope in recovery, and how I never give up any kind of obstacles, even though a lot of them were self-inflicting obstacles. I still never gave up, and I always come back and I try to fight 100%. And sometimes I come back even stronger than I was. And I believe I've only been out for 2 months, 2 months and a couple of weeks now, and I've already hit the ground running, and I'm just loving the way things are going right now. And it was just an amazing experience to be able to spend with my daughter this weekend and actually be present and be the father that she deserves to have. So yeah, I see some people hitting the love button. I appreciate it. I hope that you can make comments. I think they'll pop up on my deal, and we'll try to see if anybody does that, if I can see them, so we can test that out too. But anyway, this weekend was awesome. Kalahari's an awesome place. We go there every year except for the year I was in prison, and my family still went though. I didn't get to see my parents. My parents are up there. My dad wasn't feeling too well, and they don't drive anymore, so they didn't get to come up. And that was the only downset of the whole weekend, was I didn't get to see my mom and dad. But I had to come back to Kerrville. I got a new job starting tomorrow, and that's another thing God's blessed me with. It's kind of happening so fast, though. I didn't really have time to get my old job in affairs in order with that. But I feel kind of bad about that. But hey, it is what it is, and God's just been blessing me and in my life, and it's all because I seek in Him right now. So anyway, just wanted to get on here and see if everything was working properly. Um, and I see some people hitting the love button, but I don't see any comments. So if you're out there listening, throw a comment on there to see if I can see it. But yeah, we're gonna have Ed on, and Ed, like I said, you're gonna be able to ask him questions about fitness, and he's gonna share his story a little bit. There we go. Hey, we got one. Appreciate that, Sherry. Yeah, I saw it pop up. Thank you. And yes, you're right. That's exactly right. And I say a prayer before ever I come, whenever I come on, that to get me out the way, and let God do the talking. Um, and I was such in a hurry this time. I actually forgot to do that. So I'm probably a little nervous still. But I I'm trying to make sure I go, with and let God lead every single time. Um, yeah, thanks, Ada. I see it too. I appreciate it. Yeah, so this is great. I can see your comments, and I'm glad that's working out. That way, when we got Ed on, y'all be able to ask him some questions about fitness or anything y'all wanna ask. We can do that. But yeah, my daughter turned 11, so that was just an amazing experience to be at. I got to meet a lot of her friends too, and let me tell you, I had to stay in a hotel room at Kalahari with 8 young girls with it was crazy. They were going all over the place. But it was fun, it was something that I haven't been able to do, and it was just it was awesome to be able to be there and play around, and have fun and just it was an amazing weekend and I'm so super blessed and I just love the fact that what God's doing in my life and for my kids, both my kids, they my son is absolutely killing it, guys. And if you want to check my son's workout, his name's Shot by Cooper. He's on TikTok, he's on Instagram. Some of his videos on TikTok have like 160,000 views. 100 30 40,000 likes on some of his media videos for Texas State. So he's killing it and his junior year he'll be able to start traveling with the football team on the plane and the hotels and stuff. So he's pretty excited about that. But he's actually grown even taller. He's definitely above 6 foot. So he got his height from his mama, not me. But he's super tall. I'm sure y'all saw that in the picture. But yeah, God's just blessed me with two amazing kids, and it's really cool. And I really appreciate your comments, Sherry. Thank you so much. Yeah, if I let God lead the way and take the wheel, there's no way, this can go wrong. And hopefully people, will start seeing that they can come back from anything, if they have God leading the way. And that's the main thing we got here is I want to project in this podcast is going to be I was an addict, and it controlled my life for 20 something years. I mean, there's no doubt about it. I should have been dead a million times. I've had several overdoses. Um, I had liver and kidney failure and I lost my eyesight for several months because of a hemorrhage in my brain due to that organ failure. And, and I kept on doing it. I didn't know the solution. And right now it's amazing because I have absolutely no obsession to use drugs and alcohol right now. And the reason I use them, is because I wanted to change the way I felt. I didn't like the feeling I had inside, and right now I love the feeling I have inside. And in order for me to, maintain that, it's going to be, in order for me to maintain that, I got to keep God first. And that's one thing I've always had a problem with when things start going well. So I know that I'm going to keep that. And Sherry, I'm going to be doing these live streams on Sunday. I haven't really picked, I want to do them around 8 o'clock, but it's going to be up to Ada. She's letting me use her studio. So I'll have to get with her and find out, but I'll definitely announce it when I start doing them. And we're going to try to do it the same every Sunday at the same time. Give or take. If she's busy, I might have to change it by an hour or so, but we're going to try to do it every week on Sunday for now. And then once we figure that out, we'll, move forward with it. But yeah, the live streams it's going to be going live, every single time. That's just the way we decided to do it. And I'm super excited about it. So thank you, Sherry. I appreciate you praying for me. That's awesome. And yes, he's gonna handle this all like he's supposed to. And I just got complete trust in him right now, because that's one thing I've never been able to do, is complete, there's always things that I do good. Okay. And I try to keep those, like, everybody says, you got to give it to God and let go, there's some things that I do well, right? And so I want to hang on to those things subconsciously. And when I do that, it's a problem, because later on I start grasping everything else and I try to handle it. That means I don't trust God 100%. So what I'm trying to do here is give everything to God. And since I've done that, he's just been blessing my life like crazy. And that's the awesome part, is I'm not even doing it for the blessings, and they're just coming. And And I think that's the difference this time is I'm not doing it because I want this or I want that. I'm doing this because I feel like this is something God wants me to do. He wants me to talk about my life, and he wants yeah, he wants me to talk about my trials and my tribulations and how he got me through it, especially the prison part. That was one of the things that was my life was going pretty well when I knew that I was going to be going to prison. And once I found out, I was like, hey man, I know I'm going, so why don't I just might as well go out with a bang, and that was my mentality at the time because I did not have that close relationship with God like I have right now. I didn't have that connection, and therefore I had no mental defense, and I was lost inside. I had to give up my apartment that I had just got. My girlfriend, she kept my car payment going on. My phone, I have the same phone number. She kept that, and thanks, Sherry. Yeah, it's insane, I was able to I had some good support while I was in there. My ex-wife, obviously, she let me talk to my daughter on a daily basis. That was one of the things that kept me going through prison was the fact that I got to talk to my mom and dad whenever I wanted to, as long as the tablets were available. And um it was rough. I mean, it, everything is the same every day there in prison, right? It's the same routine. And then you might be on lockdown because someone dies from smoking that K2, so the whole unit goes on lockdown, and or there was a stabbing or something, bad happens, and you get on lockdown, you can't. But see, we had the tablets, we could still make phone calls as long as they were charged. So I was able to keep contact with my family the whole time, except for when I was in isolation. I got put in that isolation. I think I talked about this the last time for about 12 or 14 days. I can't remember. I lost track of time in there because I didn't have my tablet. I didn't have any of my commissary. I had shingles, and they don't have a medical isolation area there. So they basically put me in lockdown in a cell that I couldn't even do a push up in. It was so small. It didn't have a shower. All I had was the Bible, and my family was freaking out because I called them every day and I wasn't able to call them. I went straight from the emergency room um, to the hole, I guess you would call it. And it's so loud down there. It was horrible. I couldn't sleep. And the whole time in there, I finally asked. I saw the chaplain walk by, and he's a unit chaplain, meaning he's a prisoner also, but he has a lot more of he can go pretty much anywhere in the prison that he wants to go to. And I saw him and I was like, man, hey, can you get me a book to read or something? Oh, well, of course he's a chaplain. So, the book he's going to bring me was the Bible. So, it really led me in the right direction. And it was crazy. It's easy to go to God for me, when things are going bad and I have nowhere else to turn. And now I just need to stay with them when things are going well, and that's going to be the hard part for me usually. But so far, I've been doing a great job, and it also has to do with the house I live in. The house I live in is great. When I'm there in the morning, they have a meditation in the morning, so it kind of starts my day off right with God. And I tell him, hey, I'm going to give you my day, and this is all for you. I want to be able to help someone today, that's and whatever I can do through you to help somebody, let's do it, and it's been working pretty well for me. Um, and like I said, I'm not expecting anything in return. I just want to do God's will, and he's been blessing me like crazy. Not just with my family and being able to be with my family, but with work, with this podcast. And yeah, Sherry, it was insane. I saw a lot of people. Okay, that's where all the bad people were too, where I was in isolation. So I have a little window I can see out in the hallway, and there's like 60, 70 individual cells in isolation. And that's where all the troublemakers are, unless you're there for medical quarantine, which I was for the shingles, which Hey, by the way, let me real quick say something about the shingles. I appreciate everybody on Facebook and all their input on how to take care of that. Because I'm still having like some nerve issues in the back of my ear, on the back of my neck, in my head. But I did go get some of the I got some of the medicine y'all or the vitamins that y'all are suggesting, and it's actually helped. I just realized today I haven't really woke up with that irritation in the last week or so, and I think that has to do with a lot with the vitamins that I've been taking. So yeah, I appreciate the input everybody gave me on Facebook for that. So it's working. I think my friend Ann told me to get Tamarin. I got that. I had another friend so okay, take more vitamin C. I've been taking that. Um, and then there was another one. I don't even know what it was called. I started taking that. It was like a triple immune system thing. I started taking that, and so yeah, it's been working, and I appreciate that. But yeah, man, that's Sherry. That was the good book for sure. And it got me through that isolation. I didn't even know how many days I was in there. It was insane. Like they come by and they trade your laundry out. Like I had one pair when I went in there, I didn't have any of my stuff. They packed it up for me and put it in like a holding tank where they keep everybody's property. Um, and so I had to wait till I got out to get it. And I didn't even know if all my property was going to be there because when if you have a good guard, he might make sure that all your stuff is with your property or that he makes sure that but I had a decent cellie. The guy that I bunked with was actually a really good dude. He's been in prison for 14 years. And so he kind of walked me through, how to survive in there, and if it wasn't for him packing my stuff up, I wouldn't have gotten all my stuff back. It would have gotten taken. Uh, race plays a big thing in there, and there was only 4 white people in my pod of 54, and you're outnumbered, and and so I just kept to myself most of the time. I had a couple of close friends that I would work out with, do burpees, push-ups, but we would watch movies on the tablet and we would pass them around and switch tablets around. But they're like 8.99 a movie for a new release, and you only get it for 2 days, so it's pretty expensive to sit in there and watch movies all the time. But yeah, it was crazy being in isolation, and God got me through that. And when I came out, I think I said this in my interview with Ada. When I came out, I went to the bad part of the jail because they were full on the side of the prison. They were full on the side that I came from, and so they had to put me with the people that got in trouble and were on their last leg before they get transferred to a high maximum security prison. And they called it the north side and the south side. And so they sent me over to the bad side because they had no more room. They had given my bunk away. They only hold it for 10 days, and I was in isolation for I think 12 or 14 days. So my bunk got given away, and I had to go to another pod. And like I said, that pod was worse than it was the worst one that I've seen. I couldn't even use the payphone because I was white. I couldn't sit at a table. There was no tables for white people. And it was absolutely, and I was only there for like a day or maybe not even that. They made me leave, because my stuff got taken, and I tried to stick up for myself, and the other white people in the pod were like, hey, this is going to be bad for us because they're just going to keep taking your stuff. And so I had to get out of there. And when the warden came, she said, what are you doing on that side? And I said, man, y'all put me over here. She knew I wasn't a troublemaker, so she got me sent back over to the north side. I had to go back to isolation for like a day and wait till a bunk came open, because there's always people smoking that K2, and when they get caught and they fall out, they get sent to the other side. So I just had to wait for someone, to pass out on that K2, and and get moved. And then as soon as I think it didn't even take a couple of hours. I was in isolation when someone passed out, and they moved him into medical isolation for until he got better. And then I got to take his bunk, and it was a workers' dorm, so it was a lot better. And I had I was only there for a month or two before I found out that I got to go home. I was expecting to go to a drug treatment program, which is 6 months in prison, inside a prison. It's a drug treatment center inside a prison. I would have to go to a different unit, and I would have to complete the 6 month program before I go home. And that's what I was waiting to go to since March of last year. And and it was December and I hadn't left yet. That's how busy they were and backed up. So um yeah, once they were so backed up, they called me in the office on actually my daughter came to see me once a month on a Sunday. And she came to see me and she asked me if I was going to be there for her birthday this year, which just happened last weekend. And I told her, "No, sweetheart, I'm sorry. I'm not going to be there. I haven't even left for this program yet, and it's going to be another 6 to 8 months at least. Even if I leave tonight, it's going to be another 6 months." And she started crying a little bit. She wanted me to be there for her birthday. I already missed the one before, and and then the next day I got called into reentry, and I thought, well, maybe they had a trouble getting my one thing prisons do is they get your birth certificate, driver's license, social security card, and they'll do all that for you before you go home. And since I made parole, it doesn't necessarily mean you go home right away. Like I said, I had to go to the program, but they always try to get your documents, and I already had my documents. So at the house, so I didn't really need them, but they had called me and said they had trouble getting my birth certificate. So I thought I was going back in there for that. And when I walked in, she said, "Due to your recent parole vote," and I was like, "I haven't got a recent parole vote. They voted for me back in May." And she said, "No, they just voted on November 24th for you to go home with a FI1, which is home within 30 days." And I was like, "What?" And I couldn't believe it, man. I had been praying somehow, for me to go home, and it was amazing. Um, and as far as the treatment that I got in solitary, Sherry, it was crazy. I never saw a doctor in prison. Never. Uh, there were nurses, and that was it. And they were like, not. I don't even think they're registered nurses. Maybe they are, but um, and they would say, "Okay, we're gonna call the doctor for you," or this or that. But I never saw one. They gave me a nerve pain medication, which Cymbalta, I think, and they gave me an antiviral shot at the hospital. Um, and I took antiviral pills for 10 days. So they would come to the holding cell and hand me my medication. Actually, once it comes in, then they'll give me all the medication at one time, and I just take it myself. And so I did that for 10 days. And that's all I was supposed to be in isolation for was the 10 days. And then they told me after 10 days, I was like, "Hey, I'm out of medication. Shouldn't I be going back to general population?" Like my blisters were gone. I didn't have any more blisters, and they were all over the side of my head and my neck. I still got some scarring and stuff um, and it was bad. My ear, it was horrible. I had some on my shoulder too, on the back of my shoulder, but the blisters were gone, and the nurse was like, "Oh yeah, well, we should be able to get you back in general population tomorrow. Yeah, you're looking all right." And then they left me in there for days, and I kept telling every guard that came by, "Hey, they told me I was going to leave in the morning." And I did that for like 2 or 3 more days, and they basically left me in there. And then I saw the assistant warden walk in, and I said, "Hey, warden." And she goes, "You're still in here?" I was like, "Yeah." I said, "They left me in here. I was supposed to be out 3 days ago." And she was like, "Well, I'm gonna get you out right away." And she did. And then they put me over on the bad side, because they had nowhere for me to go. But that's how they treat you in there. It's just it was kind of like, here you go. And then then we had a shakedown or annual lockdown, okay, which happens once a year. and you can't leave your bunk until all the units in there, or all the pods or dorms, until all of those are searched and you go to the gym. So for instance, if there's like 15 pods, okay, and they all hold, um, 54 people. I think there was like 3,000 at the prison I was at, maybe 5,000. I can't really remember now, but um, every single pod has to be searched, top to bottom, and anything you leave in the pod, it gets thrown away. So if you don't take it with you, and then you get searched in the gym, all your property gets searched. They strip you. They they search you, do body searches, they do all that, and then they go through every single thing you have. Um, they'd open your pills and look in the bottles. They do all that. And actually, I had some ibuprofen, 600 milligram ibuprofen from the shingles that were I was taking, and I didn't have them in the pop outs. I had them. I just put them in one of my empty vitamin bottles, and they almost wrote me up for that because it wasn't in the actual container that it came in originally. But I explained to them the situation, and they kind of let it slide. But anyway, they go through all your stuff, and I actually left my Cymbalta, like, I kept it on the top of my, like, the I slept on the bottom bunk. I have a rod in my foot, so I was bottom bunk restricted, so I always got a bottom bunk, because I can't be climbing off and jumping off the bunks and stuff. So I, I was on the bottom bunk, and I kept my medication right above me, and, I forgot it was up there, and so I even got to the gym, and I said, "Oh, man, my Cymbalta." And he's like, "Oh, they're not gonna throw it away. It's just if it's a prescription, you can get it, you can pick it up from the pod later." Well, no, they throw everything away. I never got it. And then I had to put in a request for the doctor. I had to reorder it. It took another, it was, it was horrible. Horrible experience. But yeah, I don't have to deal with that no more. The way they treat you in there, sometimes it's just, I get that there's some really bad people in there. I'm not gonna be, you can't sugarcoat that. But there's also some really good people. I met some people that turned their lives around, that prison did what it was supposed to do for them. And and I try to stick with those people, while I was in there, and it was it was insane. Yeah, as far as how they treated me in solitary, I was treated just like the other guys. So if they pulled me out of there to go to medical or anything like that, they cuffed me by the ankles, and they cuffed me up here, and they strapped me with one around the waist too. Like, so I'm like, man, and then they hold your arm while they're escorting you to medical. And I'm like, guys, I'm in here for like, and I couldn't pull my shirt off. They wanted me to take my shirt off, and I said, man, if I take my shirt off, it's gonna, all my blisters are gonna pop. And he's like, sorry, you need to take your shirt off. And I was just like, man, dude, this is crazy. And so when I took it off, I rubbed all those blisters on the back of my head, and it was horrible experience. But yeah, they treated me just like I was somebody in trouble. And I even told the guy, like, hey, this is I'm in here for medical, right? I didn't do anything I wasn't supposed to do. Yeah, well, this is protocol. I got to do this for everybody, it's that kind of thing. So it was, yeah, it was not fun, not fun. But anyway, so yeah, Sherry, it was something I don't ever want to experience again, and I don't wish it on anybody. And like I said, I can't even believe, that I had to go to prison for what I did. I mean, I did break the law. But being that it was my first felony, I was always, I've gotten away with stuff, I have. I should have went to prison for some other stuff, and I didn't. So I just feel like I paid my dues, and I did what I was supposed to do. I did the time I was supposed to do, and the state felt like I did that. I did a year and 3 months, and they felt like that was enough time for me to go home. And I'm not going to prove them wrong that that was a wrong decision. I've hit the ground running. I've done everything I'm supposed to do at this point, and I've complied to everything. I will be on parole until 2030. So that's going to be and I'm considered a low risk um parolee. So what that means is I basically don't have to report every month. I do phone interviews every 3 months, and unless I screw up, and they already told me if I use or drink any alcohol, I'll be going to a 6 month in prison program. They told me that when I got out, and my parole officer has told me that I don't get a second chance. Like if I mess up, it's I'm going back. And so and I may not get out again if I go back, I may not get out for parole again. Is what I'm saying. So it's not an option. And with God by my side, it's definitely not gonna happen. So I'm feeling very confident about that. Like I said, I have no mental obsession to use drugs and alcohol right now. And that's the amazing part is, at times that's all I thought about was when am I going to get my next high? How am I going to get alcohol? How am I going to keep it? I've been so bad that I drank hand sanitizer when I had no job and I was homeless, and I would walk into places of business and I would grab hand sanitizer and I would steal it. And a lot of people, you know, are like, man, that's crazy, but that's how I was. I needed to change the way I felt. And if I didn't have it, I would shake. So even if I didn't want to do it, I had to do it just to feel good physically. And that's why I dedicated my life to health and fitness. A lot of people, I had a lot of problems, not just drugs and alcohol. I had an eating disorder for years, and I had a hard time admitting that for a while. It shows weakness, and I didn't want people to think I was weak, and I already showed weakness with the drugs and alcohol, so it didn't make sense. But yeah, I had an eating disorder for a long time, and I also have body dysmorphia, which you're probably thinking like, man, this guy takes pictures and puts them online all the time. Well, when I look at myself in the mirror, I don't see what y'all see in the photos. Okay, I actually see the bad things. Like, man, my shoulder looks like my bicep on this side is way smaller than it is on this side, and I don't see that. Now, when I see myself in a photo, I'm like, man, I look pretty good, and so a lot of people are like, oh, it's like look at me type stuff, but I struggle a lot with body dysmorphia, and I still do to this day. And it's a mental thing, and like I don't know how to fix it. I've been praying about it. It seems to get better, but that's why I work out so much. I not only is it something positive I can do, but I work hard for that. I work hard, and I'm working hard right now. I work out every day almost, and I just I struggle a lot with that. And I know it doesn't make sense sometimes because you're looking at probably the picture on my thumbnail and going, man, that guy looks great. But like I said, it's I don't see that in the mirror. And sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Most of the time I don't though. And and I've struggled with that for a long time. And people close to me, like my family, um, you know, eh, they know that. They know I've struggled with the food thing too. When I'm not working out and I eat like say a hamburger and some fries and I feel really fat and in the past I've thrown up my food, and it's embarrassing to admit, but I know people struggle with it. I haven't done that in a long time, thank God, because I do work out and I can afford to eat like that every once in a while, have like a cheat meal or whatever, and it doesn't bother me now because I work out so much. Um, but in the past, if I'm like in my dis- if I'm in my addiction and I'm having trouble with uh any kind of uh if I'm not going to the gym, if I'm not running, I'm not going to the gym, I'm not working out, and when I drink alcohol or do drugs, I do not go to the gym. It's like the worst thing you can do, and I'd be like just basically wasting my time, So and Ed can tell you that on Sunday, alcohol is not good for you if you're trying to build muscle or do anything, and in the fitness aspect, especially if you're an everyday drinker and you drink a lot of it. And uh, I was a binge drinker, so I don't just do a couple of drinks and I'm good. And that's what's tricky about this disease is, sometimes I'm so stubborn. I would tell myself, I can drink 1 or 2 drinks, watch me, and I'm not an alcoholic. I'm only drinking that much because I want to change the way I feel, and I would have a couple of drinks and I'd stop and I'd be like, see, I'm not an alcoholic. And and that's how I trick myself. That's how the brain works when you don't have a mental defense against drugs and alcohol. That's how it'll trick you, and that's how the enemy will come at me too. He'll be like, man, people, you're only going to call yourself an alcoholic, but no, I'm definitely the real deal, and I'm not. There's no denying that anymore. There That is one thing that I know for a fact. I'm definitely an alcoholic and I'm a drug addict, and I'm in recovery and I'm proud of it. And I will fight till the end, as long as I can, and I'll fight for other people too. And I'll let them know, hey, there's hope, And so that's the whole addict to the athlete thing. I won, me and Christina, with that contest we were in. It gave me a platform to reach other people. And I started doing it for the right reasons the last time, and it ended up for the bad reasons. I was more like, look at me, instead of look what God did for me. And when I started getting into that, when I started doing it that way, it was, um, I started getting back into self and doing it for the wrong reasons. And I was still helping people. That's the thing. Like, some people would text me and be like, or send me a message on Messenger, like, hey, man, I didn't even know that I was a alcoholic, or I didn't know I just smoked weed or this or that. And seeing your story, I just want to let you know it's been a month and I started running and I haven't smoked any weed. I stopped drinking, and it was difficult at first, but man, I saw what you were doing, and it gave me inspiration to do it myself. And so even when I was doing it for the wrong reasons, people were still looking at it as inspiring. So imagine what I could do for people if I'm doing it for God, and not for myself. And that's the difference this time. And I'm and yeah, this isn't me. Okay. It's God doing this, and it's God that's done all of it. And he could do the same for you and anybody else out there who seeks him. And tries to give him, I'm giving him all the glory, for everything in my life. And he got me through the prison thing. He got me through all my trials, my tribulations, my obstacles, every single one of them. And I'm not embarrassed about anything that I've ever done. Okay. I don't regret it. I mean, I'll put it this way. I'm not going to shut out my past. Okay. Because my past is the reason in the way that I'm the way I am right now. And I can use my past, with God can use my past to help somebody else. And that's my whole goal with this podcast, is to bring, to glorify God. I mean, that's it, and if it's through health and fitness, or it's through recovery, whatever I can do to glorify his name, that's what I'm going to do. And that's why I decided to do this. And I've been wanting to do it for a long time. And God blessed me with Ada, and with an amazing manager, who's been by my side the whole time and never left. Never doubted me 1 second, even when I was in a bad spot. My manager has been there for me and supported me and sponsored me, and I love him to death. And he knew Ada, and it's just like everything just kind of fit, in place. And it was God. It was God that brought me my manager to my life. It was God that brought me to Ada. It was God that brought me back to Kerrville. Um, it was all him, and he's the one that got me in that contest, and he's the one that got that got me runner up in the contest, and it got my name out there. And I started getting sponsorships. I started wearing clothes for companies, posting it online, like, and I'm not going to concentrate on that kind of stuff right now. I just want to do God's will, and if it brings me those kind of things, that's great. If it doesn't, no big deal. I'm not wishing for anything out of this other than to spread his love and tell people what he's done for my life, so that they don't give up either. I went to Cafe Java this weekend, which is one of my favorite places to eat breakfast when I'm in Round Rock, and, I go every single time. I used to live right across the street from it. My ex-wife and my daughter still live across the street from there, and, I saw one of my good buddies that I grew up with playing baseball. Yeah, I saw him there every time, and, his name was Jeff Arnaveris, and, I went there this weekend, and I can't stop, and I put a post about this, that every time I go there, it's hard for me not to think of him, because I saw him there with his wife and his daughter all the time. Well, Jeff had a a kidney, and, he was having problems and needed a transplant, and his wife gave him hers, okay? And they matched. They were and Jeff was an amazing baseball player. He played for UT. He was a Longhorn, hook 'em. Um, and I played high school baseball with Jeff. We won a state championship together. We went to Little League together. We played Little League together. We grew up together. And when I saw Jeff, and he knew I had been doing pretty well, and that and the contest had been doing pretty good for me. He came up and said, I saw him there, and he said, "Man, I have a good outlook on this transplant, man. I'm feeling better." And he goes, "I just want to tell you that how you overcome obstacles and never give up as it's inspiring, and I'm not going to give up either." And I said, "Man, I inspire to be like you and the way you are with your daughter." And it just brought back a memory that, I was giving Jeff inspiration to go through that battle, and Jeff has given me inspiration to be the father I need to be to my daughter. And it was just crazy how those intertwine this weekend. But anyway, yeah, well, guys, it was amazing to come on with y'all tonight, and I can't wait till Sunday. I'll post updates on the exact time that we're gonna have Ed on Sunday, and we will, I hope to see everybody there. Please don't forget to go to my YouTube channel at Addict to Athlete, and subscribe, please. Like I said, I'm trying to concentrate a little more on my YouTube, and this is definitely going to be an area that I focus in because it's where it's where I can get some more perks if I get about 150 more subscribers. So I've been posting a couple of videos a day on there, trying to get some more people, and it's working. I just got a few more I need to get. So if you can help me out, go to the link on the bottom. I'd really appreciate it. And like I said, it was amazing to have y'all here today. And and Sherry, thank you for all your comments. I really appreciate it. I hope to see you all there on Sunday too. And but yeah, love you guys. And like I said, just keep your heads up, keep fighting, and I'll talk to you on Sunday.